Hey, what's up? Another episode of the Bad Podcast, and this one is called "Don't Be an Imposter." B, what you thinking, brother?
Hey man, we all experience some kind of self-doubt. We all experience some kind of negativity. This one is going to be legit. So I hope everybody stays tuned.
Let's get it.
Hey, good job, guys. Good job. Mental battles. Mental battles.
Hey, man, E2M for life, baby. What it do? What it be? We're back in the building. BAD, Bad Podcast in the building, man. Super excited to come to you again. Connect with my brother Brad, man. We are getting our little groove on this thing, man. I feel really good about it. What you think?
Yeah, it feels good to hit the groove because a lot of times it's so fun. It's so hard to connect with somebody, via social media, via on a computer or whatever you're on, and I think we are starting to hit that groove a little bit, and it's we're starting to build that camaraderie a little bit. So
Yeah,
I
man.
think we're the sky's the limit now, baby.
For sure, man. So I have to hat tip myself because one of my most famous podcasts I produced, the two co-hosts like had never met, and I put them together, and like they actually were number one on Apple and all of that.
No
So
kidding.
it is possible
Yeah,
to connect virtually, man, and I think we're heading in that direction. And I also
absolutely.
want to shout out everybody that told me about the $9 pickle. I had people at the meetup was like, "Hey, I'm from Goldsboro." Shout out to Goldsboro people in the $9 area. People taking pictures of the pickle jars and shooting to me in the DM. I want to shout out to everybody doing that, man. We got another did you know. This time is Brad's turn, so you gotta watch to the end to catch that. That's gonna be really cool. But before we get to that, man, let's get to the topic, man. Brad, let's talk about it, man. Don't be an imposter. What we talking about?
So the reason I wanted to talk about this, Dwayne, is because last week when I got off the podcast, I walked upstairs. I started talking to my wife. She said, "How'd it go?" And I said, "That was the worst podcast that I've ever done, and I don't know if I'll ever do another podcast." And she's like, "Well, why do you think that way?" I don't know. I'm stuttering. I'm not talking clearly. I'm missing my points, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I got to start thinking to myself because that's how I feel almost after every single one of my live workouts. When I get
Mm,
done, I'll walk upstairs or I'll be asked by my sister or my brother, my parents, "Hey, how'd it go?"
mhm,
And every single time I have a sense of I don't belong. I have that
mm,
sense of imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is I have it written down right here. It's a psychological occurrence in which an individual doubts their skills, talents, or accomplishments, which leads to internal fear of being exposed as a fraud.
wow.
I think a lot of us we are afraid of being exposed as a fraud, and how do we combat that? How do we
Mhm,
combat that? Let
mhm.
me ask you something, Dwayne.
Yeah.
You've been in the podcast game for a long time. You're starting to dive deep into the E2M game now. Do you ever experience any imposter syndrome, doubt, fraud, anything like that?
So I'm different, man. My dad, my family, we are very proud people.
Hmm.
And what was instilled in me, man, was just wherever you are, you belong. And so I don't really suffer from that. I speak from the other side of the table, man, where I feel like if I'm involved, then something good is going to come out of it. My one of my uncles, he's like, your last name Atkinson. A is first letter in the alphabet. That's alpha. We like it's
Like
just
that.
they just built that into me, man. And so, you said it was the worst podcast. Man, I walked away like, man, this getting the groove, man. I feel it, it
Hmm.
feels
Hmm.
good. It's just that different perspective. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's rare, man. I will say with my new role, because it is new. I don't fear like that I'm not like they're gonna find out I'm not who I say I am, because
Hmm.
I put in the work behind the
Yeah.
scenes. It's new, so there's a little nervousness there that I can perform and execute the way that I presented it. But
Hmm.
but yeah, I don't really suffer from that much.
Yeah. Well, saying what you just said, Dwayne, I think one of the ways that we do combat this imposter syndrome is being informed and, making sure that we're staying informed, we're staying sharp with our information, with
Mhm.
how we present it. I'm somebody that reads a lot. I'm somebody that watches a lot of podcasts. I'm somebody that watches a lot of growth content. I'm somebody that's always studying somebody or something. And right now, Eric Thomas is my guy. Like I
Yeah,
love
man.
me some ET, the hip hop preacher.
Yeah, man.
Andy Frisella is another guy. Tony
Mhm.
Tony Tony Robbins is somebody else that I look up to. And when I'm reading books, right now I have the David Goggins
Oh, yeah, the new
book.
one.
The new one, the Never Finished, and
Yeah.
I haven't started reading it, and it's driving me nuts every single day that I put that off. I put it on the side burner. Is a day that I'm not really tapping in, right? And
Mm.
when I'm reading, man,
Mhm.
I feel like I'm clicking on all cylinders because I'm filling my mind, I'm filling my head with some sort of good content that I can
Mhm.
preach to our clients and
Yep.
I can preach to the world. And but when I'm not reading, I feel like I am like the biggest fraud on the entire planet. And so I got done with that podcast last week, and again, my wife asked me, but then my sister texted me because I told her, I said I wanted to do a podcast a little early because I wanted to talk about my son. I wanted to talk
Mhm.
about Rush, and
Mhm.
she texted me later, and she's like, you know, she asked me, she goes, "Hey, how'd it go?" And I said, honestly, Carrie, I think I don't know if I'm cut out for this podcast world. Like I'm not. I just wasn't feeling it. And
Uh,
she stopped me in my tracks and said, "This is a feeling that I have every single day as a parent.
mm.
This is something that I feel every single day as a teacher." And I think it applies to a lot of different realms of our life,
Yep.
because we're always trying to live up to some sort of expectation, or we're
True.
always trying to be somebody else, when in turn I am
Yep.
the only Brad Barmore that I know of. I'm sure there might be another one out there, but
Sure.
I'm the only me, and we have to start silencing that inner negativity,
Yep.
and stop trying to live up to external expectation, and trying to
Mhm.
and stop trying to be somebody that we're not, and just be us, man. Stay informed, stay on top of your game, and appreciate where you're at.
Yeah, no, and so to kind of go in that vein of whatever of trying to be someone else. Now I did experience that growing up, and it's funny because my favorite number is 21, and it's in
Mm,
my email address. I should sign it, but here's the thing: I didn't wear 21. And I picked 21 because a cousin I looked up to, that was his favorite number. So I
mhm,
wanted to be him. I
yep,
I identified with him,
mhm,
because at the time I thought, I wasn't good enough, but because shout out to my cousin. His name is Robert Earl Atkinson III. The man was valedictorian,
mhm.
summa cum laude, lieutenant something something in the Navy, in
Wow.
high school, never made lower than a 98 on
Woo.
anything. He was that guy. Like all the teachers, when I came to class, said, "Oh, you an actor?" I was like, no, I don't want to disappoint.
Hold up.
Not the same.
Yeah.
That's my cousin, but
Mhm,
nah, not on that level. But I I I pretty much picked up a lot of stuff from him. I did a lot of things because of him, which to my benefit, he helped me grow and all of that. But I use his identity, and I didn't know why 21 was his favorite number, and so I found out like years later that 21 was his favorite number because he wore it in football, he wore it in basketball,
mm.
but it was his favorite number because he was born on January 21st.
Ah.
And it never rang, and I was like, you know what? 5. I'm changing everything to 5. Like
Yeah.
but it goes back to not feeling like you're good enough and you have to identify with somebody else. You have to,
Mhm.
and there is a place for that where you mimic good behavior,
Yeah.
because you talk about listening to ET and those guys, we mimic their behavior when
Yeah.
it comes to, saying something powerful, when it comes to having passion, when it comes to being knowledgeable, man. And
Yeah.
I want to go back to you talking about reading and how that
Mhm.
gives you that much more confident.
Yep.
On a separate podcast, I interview a lot of pastors, and that's what they say, the exact same thing. If
Mhm.
they're not reading, they feel stuck. Like even like their wives would say, "Hey, you need to read a book. Like you're not in your right place, man." So I think all of that ties together, man. Beautiful.
You know, in Dwayne, so we're a fitness podcast, and we try to talk to a lot of our clients. Same thing that goes for reading for all these pastors that you're interviewing. You know, if you feel stuck in your fitness and you just don't know how to get unstuck, what you got to do is go back to the basics and get out there and just perform some kind of fitness move, some kind of physical activity. I was talking to a guy the other day because I've been down and out for over a week, Dwayne. I don't know if you knew that, but I've been down and out for over a week now. I had some kind of bug, man. I lost 20 pounds in 10 days, 20 pounds in 10 days. And I work extremely hard to get that 20 pounds.
Right. I remember.
You know, so yeah, man, I've been grinding to get that 20 pounds. And so I lost almost all of that weight, and it's been almost demoralizing, but you know, I know that all I have to do is go back out there and do something, you know, just get that momentum going. You know, you think of a parked car. Jeff used this reference the other day. You think of a parked car or a car in neutral. You know, to get that car in motion, it's very extremely difficult. But once you get that car rolling, you know, you create that momentum, and then you keep it moving. How are you going to slow that down? You're going to stop. And then if once you stop again, it's extremely hard to get it moving. But once you get that going in motion, you know, that's when you create that momentum, and that's how you defeat the imposter syndrome. One of the things that you touched on for a second was you know, the accomplishments of your cousin or your uncle?
Cousin,
You know, these accomplishments of your cousin. And I think a lot of times we kind of downplay our own accomplishments. We have to start acknowledging our own accomplishments. I remember the minute that I crossed the finish line, I talked to my old man, and he's like, you know, in disbelief, because he didn't think I could do the Ironman in the first place. Shout out, Pop. I love you to death, Dad. But he didn't think I could do it. And when I got done, he's like, how was it? And I was like, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that hard. I was just on the road for 13 hours in the water in the water and on the road for 13 hours. And I told my dad, well, it wasn't that hard. You know, you downplay some of the accomplishments that you make in your life.
Right.
And, you know, that feeds to that imposter syndrome. I just did something that over 99.99% of the world can't or won't do. And I told my dad, it wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
Downplay, man.
I'm
That
in the
feeds into that imposter syndrome.
I'm in the won't percentage of that. Won't.
I think 99.99% of the world are in that won't.
No, man, that's so good, man, because you know, like you said, you have to acknowledge, you know, what you accomplished, man, and we do. You know, even the small victories, man, we have to, and we talked about that with the mile markers. If you missed that episode, go back and check the mile marker episode. But you have to do that, and that helps build your confidence, and where you can, you know, move out or move away from that negative speak in your mind to say that you don't belong or you're not good enough.
Yeah, you have to be proud of the things that you accomplish in life. And right now, I'm currently writing a book, Prep, Rep, Repeat, and it's a story about how I sort of use the Prep, Rep, Repeat mantra in my life and in my Ironman training to take my average life to an iron life. You know, I'm not living a life that you know. An average Joe can't accomplish. I'm living a life right now that anybody can accomplish, but you know, you have these things in your mind that you aspire to live by, and a lot of people just keep them in their minds. They don't turn their dreams into reality because they don't turn their thoughts into action.
Right.
And when you can turn your thoughts into action, you know, you're going to water down that imposter syndrome, and then you're going to create that momentum that we were just talking about, and then you're going to extinguish completely that imposter syndrome, that doubt, that feeling of fraud. So yeah, I mean, I'm writing a book right now, and by no means, Dwayne, am I an author. By no means am I an author. Like, I'm putting words on a piece of paper right now, and I'm going to have it spell checked. I'm going to have it revised, all of those things. But you know, I'm turning my dreams into a reality by taking the thoughts that I have in my mind, the vision that I have in my mind, and turning it into action.
Yeah, man. No, that's fire. I'm excited for you. On the book journey. You know, that was one of the things I wanted to implement with the team was more written media. So to hear you say that's awesome.
Yeah.
So right now in the comment section, man, put down how you feel, man. Are you feeling like you're suffering from imposter syndrome? Say, yeah, that's me, or no, that's not me. Put that in the comment section. We're gonna read them, and we're gonna give you some encouragement if that's the case. But put that in the comment section right now if that's you, man. We really want to interact with you guys and really connect with you, man. So Brad, let's get ready to, I guess, kind of start turning the plane a little bit, man, and get ready to land it, man. Let's talk kind of finishing up, because you mentioned, being informed, how that helps, develop and all of that. But let's talk about how we, just being proud of who you are, man, and how important that is.
Yeah. A lot of that just stems from, staying within, finding something that you are passionate about, finding something that you can thrive in, and then just staying the course. I'm Brad Barmore. Dwayne, you're Dwayne Atkinson. I'm not going to try to be you. You're not going to try to be me. And to pivot off of what you just said about going into the comments, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this on YouTube or wherever you can comment, I encourage you to be transparent, because that's one of the biggest steps to extinguishing all of the imposter syndrome, all of the fraud, all of the doubt that you have in your mind. Be extremely transparent, because a lot of times we lie to ourselves, and then we start to believe those lies. We start to believe that drawn up image in our minds of, I don't belong, I'm not worthy. Be transparent with where you're at. Be transparent with who you are, and I think that's one of the biggest contributions to eliminating imposter syndrome. I'm ready to do the did you know. I've been amped up about this all day. It's not gonna be as cool as yours, but I'm amped up.
I love it, man. So this is the segment of the show that we call Do You Know? That's right. Do you know? So Brad, give us a do you know fun fact.
Do you know? Well, first I'll start by saying this. My wife and I are adventure enthusiasts, and we are just trying to tap into that side of life. Our kids have to grow up a little bit before we can dive back into this world a little bit. But do you know that I have been on 5 out of the 7 continents? I've been on 5 of the 7 continents. I have not been to Africa, and I have not been to Antarctica yet. And I say yet because that's on the bucket list. We're gonna go hang out with the penguins and then put the feet on the ice and all that stuff. But 5 out of 7 continents. We talked about my brother last week, a couple weeks ago, and he's somebody that sort of opened up our eyes to that adventure side to us. And we've been to New Zealand, we've been to Australia, we've been to Indonesia. We've been to Paris, we've been to Germany, South America a handful of times. Obviously, here in North America, and just been all around North America. But yeah, man, that's one of the neat facts about me. Do you know? 5 out of 7 continents.
That is amazing, bro.
Yeah.
I've been to 1.
Well, time to step it up. Maybe we'll go out of town together one time.
That goes back into that want to or don't want to.
There's a lot of beautiful things in this world.
Hey.
And honestly, Dwayne, up until I was probably 25, I had zero desire, because I just didn't know.
Sure.
Like, you see these things in magazines and in textbooks, and you think, wow, that's like really pretty, or that's beautiful, or whatever. But to see the Great Wall of China with your own 2 eyes, I'm telling you what, there is nothing like it. When you walk in the side of a mouth of a volcano, and man, I'm going to save a story for another time, but the true beauty that's in this world is amazing. And just to get out there and experience it, man, I'm telling you, there's nothing like it.
Well, I'm going to say this. That's what 4K is for. Like, the images now, man, they're beautiful. Yeah, I can see that wall, from the comfort of the home, and that volcano mouth. Yeah.
Yep.
4K it gives you good. I'm just kidding, man. No, that's fire, man. I appreciate you sharing that with us, man. Hey, also, you guys, thank you guys for listening to the Bad Podcast. Make sure you leave us a review, 5-star review. Tell somebody about it, post about it, take a screenshot, tag us, continue to send messages. I thank all of you guys for listening and checking us out. We are super excited with the direction we're going with this podcast, and Also, send us anything, questions or suggestions or anything. We're open. We want to hear from you. We want to connect with you. And we want to do all the things, man. So, B, if you don't have anything else, we out of here.
Hey, silence all the negativity and your nightmares to live the dream, baby. See ya.
Yes, sir. Peace out.